Good morning, kind people of the internet. Alright, so it is Saturday evening, and I am just now putting this vlog together. I was going through all week trying to come up with a good idea for the vlog. I wasn't getting anything. Then I got this idea. It was going to be so great, and I started working on it today, and I could not get it to work. So I got with my friend Joel the other day, who is a guitar player, and he loaned me 2 of his pedals. So he loaned me the very first pedal that he ever got, which is this Anna Echo pedal. And he also loaned me this pitch modulator and flanger pedal. So what I was going to do for the vlog was demonstrate these pedals and show you all the different cool and crazy sounds I could get with my saxophone by playing them through these pedals. However, I cannot get it to work on any of my gear, and the main problem I'm running into is that most of my microphones use an XLR cable. So an XLR is the cable with 3 prongs. So like that, if it will focus. It's not going to focus. And these pedals are designed to use 1/4-inch cables. So the 1/4-inch is just like that. It's just like the one big prong. Okay, so I have an adapter. I have all sorts of different other cables. I have different speakers I was trying to run it through, a different amp. I have all this gear out in the studio right now. This is an old preamp. This is my little audio interface. I was trying to play it through these JBL speakers. I was trying to play it through this Yamaha amp. I was trying just about everything I could think of, but I could not get it to work. So I've bailed on this idea, and I'm hoping to do it in a future vlog. And I may need Joel to come over here to help me set this up, or somebody that knows what they're doing with technology. I play the saxophone. No cords, wires, or electricity required. I'm not used to this. I don't know what I'm doing, so I'm trying to figure it out. However, I did some brainstorming, and I came up with another idea because I wanted to stick to this whole vlog goes out on Sunday thing. And I think you're going to like this idea, especially if you are a musician or in any way involved with music or writing music, or if you're just somebody who likes hearing about the process or about creative processes or anything with the arts. I think you might like this. So what I want to do today is talk a little bit and try to bring you inside my world of how I go about writing music. And the reason I was thinking about this was because I just started writing a new piece this week for a saxophone quartet. And I'm writing for a saxophone quartet because we just have this new group in Indianapolis called the Indie Saxophone Quartet. And it was started by Amanda Gardier, and she's going to be playing Barry in the group. I'm playing tenor. Lamont Webb is playing alto. Rob Dixon is playing soprano. And then we also have Jesse Whitman on bass and Carrington Clinton on drums. And we have our first rehearsal in 3 days, and I'm hoping to finish this piece by then so that we can play through it and see if I like it. And then we have our first gig this coming Saturday at the Jazz Kitchen in Indianapolis. So if you are here or if you want to come to Indianapolis, you should definitely come to the gig, and you might hear this piece if we can work it out. So I know a lot of you have asked how I go about writing music, especially when it comes to the big band stuff that I've done. And this process, which I've been doing with this piece, is more or less what happens no matter what the instrumentation is. So it's a pretty universal process for me. And I don't always do this, but something along these lines is usually what happens. So usually what I will do first is try to get a picture of the group, whatever group I'm writing for, in my head. So I might actually picture the musicians standing together, or I may try to get like the sound of what I think the instruments will sound like together going in my head. Once I have that, then I will start brainstorming ideas. And what I was doing with this was sitting down at the piano and working through and coming up with a few initial ideas. Once I had a few things that I sort of liked, I didn't necessarily know if they would work or if they would lead into a piece or if they could even be used. But if I came up with anything that I liked, I would quickly grab my phone and I would go to the voice memo app, which is that red, black, and white app down there. And you can open it up and there's a little record button right there, and I would just start recording ideas into my phone. I've recorded thousands of ideas into here, a lot of like little 30-second to 1 minute ideas for all sorts of different pieces. And it's very helpful because this way I don't have to try to remember it on my own. So if I have a good idea, I can just put it in there, then I can come back to it later, or I can forget about it and delete it and never use it. But it's sort of like a bank of ideas. So for the beginning of this piece, I had, I think, 3 or 4 ideas that I wanted to try to work with and see if I could develop. And I picked an initial idea to start the piece, and I would play it on the piano, and then I would try to play it and let it develop naturally as far as I could on the piano. So I had maybe up to like a minute of music happening, and from there, since it's only 4 instruments, I just went ahead and just started dumping the music into Finale. And Finale is the notation software that I use on my computer, and I'm going to show you that. And I'm also going to change the battery on my camera because it's about to die. All right, we are back. So this is what Finale looks like when it is opened up, and you see here on the left we have the 4 instruments. We have soprano, alto, tenor, bari. So this piece is starting with a line in the tenor sax and the bari sax, playing it together in octaves. And this line sort of goes for a while, and then soprano and alto join, and they're doing sort of like a melody, and then the 2 lines are playing off of each other here a little bit. Then it develops, and we're going through some different harmonies, and then we kind of break it down to just bari and alto there for a minute. And then we have bari, alto, soprano right here. And then tenor joins back in, and it's sort of building up. And this is all that I have so far. So I'm up to, really with the full group, just up to about measure 40. Then I have a separate idea I'm going to try to use in a little bit. So what I will do from here, once I have something, and this actually works pretty well with this instrumentation. I don't really do this with the big band, but using the Finale playback. So when you're in Finale, I'm sure if you've ever used Finale, you know this, but if you just go to Windows and playback controls, it'll play it back for you so you can hear it. So the sound of the instruments isn't great, but you do hear the rhythms and the harmonies really clearly, which can be useful to hearing, to letting you hear where you want the piece to develop. So a lot of times what I'll do now is do the playback up until where I've stopped. Then when it stops, I stop the playback and I just sort of listen and hear if I'm hearing any ideas that will naturally follow what I've just heard. And a lot of times it's a very abstract, it's more of just like a feeling, and I'll say, oh, I want it to be simpler here, or I want it to have more energy, or more rhythm happening, or maybe I'll say I just want it to go down to one instrument, or I want it to be more melodic here. It's general things like that. Very rarely will I hear the next line, the actual notes. Sometimes I'll hear sort of a melody, but usually not. It's more like a feeling. From there, I can take that thought and the feeling that I want and try to put music to match that. So from there, I may jump back on the piano and work out some things. And if I'm playing the chords, then it's easy for me to hear a melody. So if I'm playing the chords that I know that will come next, then I'll try to hear a melody in my head, then try to sing it, then play it on the piano. Then if I don't want to have to jump right back on finale, what I'll do is I have manuscript paper right on the piano, and I'll try to sketch that idea. So this is a little sketch of something that I was doing with this piece. Oops. So this is just like a very basic melody line that I was trying to harmonize with one other voice. So you see there's no rhythm written, but I sometimes if I know if it's a rhythm that I've already used, or if I know I can remember it, I don't bother sketching down the rhythm. I just sketch down the part I know I won't be able to remember. And then I'll go back to finale, put it in finale, and then repeat the process. And the thing about using the playback, I try not to use it as a crutch, because I feel like it sort of, in a way, disconnects you from what you really are hearing, especially when you're hearing like the MIDI sounds, which saxophone sounds aren't that great on finale. You don't want that to necessarily influence the music itself, which it can if you're not careful. If you don't keep an open mind to hearing music in general, you're hearing these finale sounds which aren't great, and then it may stagnate the process or get you away from your natural like inner musical voice. So the better you are with just hearing it in your head, then you can sort of stay in your head and stay in that zone a little bit better. I was pretty fascinated when I heard Maria Schneider say that she doesn't even use musical notation software when she's writing her big band charts. She, I guess, writes everything out by hand, or at least sketches it, and then has other people do it for her. So she's never using playback. She's hearing it all in her head, which is really incredible. I don't know if I could do an entire big band chart without that. I mean, I could, I just don't think it would be very good, because it's still hard for me to completely hear what a section is going to sound like, especially with big band. So anyway, the other thing that I wanted to mention is that I've noticed when I'm writing is it will take a little bit of time when I'm first getting started each day to sort of get into that flow state, and it could take 20 minutes up to even 45 minutes. You just have to sort of focus in. Obviously, like I'm not looking at my phone, not checking email, I'm not answering text messages or anything, because that will take you out of that focused state. But once you get in that state, as long as you, or at least when I'm doing it, as long as I am continuing to stay focused, it gets a little bit easier as the time goes on. And I can usually stay in it for up to about 3 hours, and that seems to be more or less the limit where I start getting fatigued and it's harder to stay focused. And my brain just sort of wants to relax at that point. But it's usually from about 20 or 25 minutes starting there up to 3 hours, I'm good to go. And I just try to milk that time. If I do have that time, I can usually get quite a bit done, especially working with the saxophone quartet, where it's just 4 voices. I think I've done about 40 measures in only about 3 different writing sessions, which is fast. I definitely would not have that much done if I was doing a big band chart or something with more voices than just 4. So I've really been enjoying doing the saxophone quartet thing, and I'm hoping to, if I finish it and I like it, then to release some videos of that so you can hear it, and then maybe even putting it up on my website. So if you're a saxophone player, you would be able to download the PDFs and then play it yourself if you're interested in doing that, which is really cool just to think about how that's possible, just by using my website and just posting things. It's really fun. I guess if you have any questions about any of this, or if you're a composer or you're trying to write music yourself, definitely feel free to ask. You can contact me through my website, shoot me an email, and I'm usually pretty good about emails. And I don't think I wanted to put anything else other than that in this vlog. Oh, I did have one other thing. I almost forgot. I have a new transcription available in the store on my website. I'm up to transcription number 16, and this one is Stan Getz playing on Nobody Else But Me, and this is what the B flat part looks like. So it's starting where he's playing the melody, and then you get the entire solo, and you get the chord changes. Everything's written out there. So if you purchase any of my transcriptions through my website, you get the C part, B flat, E flat, and bass clef, and then you also get the audio track. So you have the full package where you can follow along, see how he's approaching each chord change. And there are a lot of great solos done by awesome saxophone players that are up on the site now if you're into that. So check it out. All right, thank you for watching. Have a wonderful week, and I will talk to you later.